Tony Blair's former spin doctor, Alastair Campbell, once famously declared, "We don't do God," when the then Prime Minister was asked about his religious beliefs. And on the whole, Britain's leaders have avoided wearing their religious colours on their sleeves. But now, David Cameron says he wants to put God back into politics. In an article for the Church Times, the Prime Minister says Britain should be more confident about being a Christian country and use faith to get out there and make a difference to people's lives. So, is this a risky strategy for the Tory leader? I'm joined now by the theologian Vicky Beeching, and in our central London studio is the author and independent columnist Owen Jones. Vicky, we'll start with you, and dealing with those comments by Alastair Campbell. He also removed a reference that Tony Blair wanted to have into "God bless you," that Tony Blair was going to put at the end of his eve of the Iraq war address to the nation. I mean, is it the case that politicians nowadays just feel more comfortable talking about their faith?
I don't know. I think there's something in us these days, and I think social media might actually be demonstrative of this. We want to actually get behind the veneer of leaders and of celebrities, and we want to really find out about people's everyday lives, the kind of 360 degrees of the person, not just their kind of public persona. So I think that whatever it is that is really burning in the hearts of our leaders and our politicians, what's shaping their paradigm and their values, we want to know about that. So I think it's not surprising in that cultural context that people might feel a bit more comfortable talking about the religious beliefs that might be shaping their values and their paradigms.
But Owen Jones, the fact that the Prime Minister's position does appear to have shifted. Previously, he was talking about his faith as being intermittent, like the radio signal you pick up in the Chilterns. He's obviously gone farther than that further today. I mean, that does at least suggest that there is a political dimension in all of this.
Yeah, I think it does. And I mean, I would just say this, though. I mean, this is the dangers for David Cameron, if you like. Research today came out and suggested that Britain is one of the most sceptical countries on earth when it comes to religion. Now, it was once famously said that the Anglican Church is the Tory party at prayers. So there's clearly a strong conservative constituency amongst regular churchgoers. But you've got to bear in mind that this has become an ever more irreligious country. The number of people who go to church every week is about 1 in 10. The number of people, according to the last census, who said that had no religion surged to 25%. We're an ever more diverse country. There are now 1 in 20 of us are Muslims. We have nearly 1 million Hindus. Over 250,000 of us are Jewish. And I suppose, the proposition I'd put to people, I think it'd be interesting to see what your viewers think about this, is that we should live in a country where people's right to religious belief is vehemently protected and defended at all costs, but where the state keeps out of religion and the religion keeps out of the state. Now, he said we're a Christian country, and he was right, that's true, because we have an established church. But I think a lot of people now would say that's a bit out of date. We should move with the times and come out as the modern secular nation we are, not go down the path, probably, of injecting more religion into politics, just as the country moves ever further away from active religious belief, if you like.
Vicky, I mean, the Prime Minister has been widely celebrated, particularly obviously amongst in the Church of England, as putting God back into politics. But it hasn't always been there. I can think of a succession of Archbishops of Canterbury who've waxed lyrical about the political issues of the day. You look at some of the policies of this government, I mean, big society, isn't that just the political equivalent of love thy neighbour?
Well, kind of. I mean, I'm a big believer that religion and politics have to mix, because if you actually look at the New Testament text within Christianity, it's actually a very political document. It's talking about the establishing of a kingdom that exists for the benefit of certain citizens, usually the ones who are the most vulnerable, the ones who are the poorest, the most at risk. So the Christian faith is political, but when I look at the values of Cameron's government, I don't really see that echoed. You know, the bedroom tax, the cuts to benefits. Really, if you're looking at a political system that mirrors Jesus's big society, you're looking at one that's quite opposite to what Cameron seems to be doing. So I think when he says that, you know, Jesus invented the big society and he's wanting to kind of have this sort of Christian ethos, I would say, rather than just words, we need actions. We need, you know, to see these people looked after, to see the vulnerable cared for, and that, for me, is what it would look like for a Prime Minister to actually put his faith into action.
Owen Jones, how much of this is to do with rebuilding bridges with the Church of England, or with people of faith in general? I mean, I'm thinking of the controversy that surrounded his decision to push forward with gay marriage.
Well, that's certainly a factor which drove some more traditional voters into the arms of UKIP, although if you look at the polling, it's generally issues to do with immigration that's really fueling that, and that's why you're seeing the Tories trying to tack to the right on issues like immigration, for example, and also social security. I'm not sure myself, if you look at the figures, just how irreligious, not just many Labour and Lib Dem voters are, but many Tory voters these days, particularly younger Conservative voters, aren't likely to be particularly religious either. So I'm not sure about the political dividends, but just building on what Vicky said, I think she's absolutely got a point there. I mean, look, the Trussell Trust, for example, are a large, Christian organisation where organising food banks, because of the government's policies, 1 million people now dependent on food banks. David Cameron talks about making a difference. Well, that organisation is. And then this government today anonymously briefed against the Trussell Trust, saying that they would speak out against benefit cuts because they're running a business. So that doesn't exactly show in practical terms their commitment. But I suppose where I differ with Vicky is, I mean, if we look back, all religions have been used to justify pretty much everything. You've had Christians who believed very strongly in socialism, who helped found the Labour Party. You've had Catholic liberation theologians in Latin America who mix Marxism and Catholicism. Then you've got people on the right, like the Christian Democrats in Germany. Franco's Spain, the far-right dictator of Spain, used Catholicism to support his regime. And the point I'd make is people have strong religious convictions, and they will pick and choose often, I think, religious ideas to back up those beliefs. But, I think if we look at our political system, I think it'd be good for politicians to say what they mean and mean what they say, but I don't think dragging religion into it will help that, and I think most people would prefer their politicians' religious beliefs, private religious beliefs, to be just that, private.
Well, we all know just how long the prominent commitment to environmental issues lasted. We'll see how long this one lasted. Owen Jones, Vicky Beeching, thank you both very much.